Hello, I'm Carol Tebbs, instructor for the Kepler College Certificate course, Moving the Chart in Time, Part 1. Now, a good way to begin is to first assess the standout features of the natal chart. For example, we can see several close planetary combinations in Chelsea Clinton's birth chart, born February 27th, 1980, in Little Rock, Arkansas, at 11:24 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, the most obvious standouts are Uranus in the first house squaring her MCIC axis, and at the same time square her North Node-South Node axis, which suggests that some unexpected difficulty related to her father's reputation. Secondly, her close Mars-Jupiter conjunction in the 10th house in Virgo are notable markers for a prominent position of power. So far, it is shown in her father as president and her mother as first lady and now Secretary of State. And thirdly, Chelsea's fire grand trine of Venus, Neptune, and the midheaven, complicated with Venus in close opposition to Pluto. Now, it is not surprising that her seemingly charmed life has been jolted by Dad's sexual scandal with Monica Lewinsky. As a general rule, we might expect to see these sorts of networks activated at important life events for Chelsea Clinton. Now, though Antonius Maginus in 1604 was close to the modern solar art method of direction, the current system wasn't born until the mid-19th century. Now we measure the sun's motion along the ecliptic in celestial longitude, with that same increment applied equally to all bodies and points in the natal chart, one solar day for each year of life. The 1-degree contacts of the directed planets to natal planets or points describe the life issues activated for the year. Now, in Chelsea Clinton's case, on September 9, 1998, her life was impacted majorly when the Ken Starr report reached Congress and the firestorm began. Her directed chart for that date shows her directed Venus-Pluto squared her proud Leo moon as her father became the target of a salacious public scandal, though at the same time her directed ascendant squared natal Mars and Jupiter, now in the 12th, suggesting her personal disappointment in her hero. And finally, her directed moon conjuncted natal North Node in the 10th to suggest an emotional lesson in reality to accept, forgive, and move on. Now, in 1604, Antonius Maginus introduced the idea of a different symbolic movement of the planets to forecast current patterns. But it was Johannes Kepler's work on planetary movement and speed, and made available in ephemerides, that made the whole system possible. Like directions, progressions are symbolic measure of one day for 1 year of life. But the similarity ends there. Unlike directions, where all bodies are moved at the same increment, progressions are taken 1 day per year directly from the ephemeris, and those positions do account for the varying speeds of the planets. Now, in Chelsea's case, notice that her secondary progression for the same date of the Ken Starr report to Congress is also active, but very different than the solar arc direction. Her progressed Mercury is in conjunct her natal moon and conjunct natal sun in the 4th, quite appropriate for a problematic situation involving her father and the family. At the same time, her progressed Mars conjuncted her birth nodal axis, showing her need to defend her dad and show family unity. Now, the use of transits began in antiquity when man first began observing the sky and keeping records of the positions of the planets. However, accurate planetary movement and records were not developed into ephemerides until the early 17th century with the work of Kepler and Galileo. Now, most astrologers use the outer planet transits, which move from a whole sign per year, Jupiter, to 12 degrees per year, Saturn, to 4 degrees, Uranus, and to less than 2 degrees, Neptune and Pluto. Of course, the inner transits, Mercury, Venus, and Mars, move quickly through the zodiac to activate days during the course of the year, when the slower directions and progressions are already in place to activate the natal chart. Now for Chelsea, the outer transits are revealing at this important time because transiting Pluto squared her natal Mars and Jupiter, symbolic of power struggles in her midst, while transiting Saturn more fortunately trined that same combination. Most stressful, though, because it is a light, is the transiting Uranus opposing her natal moon, which happens for the better part of the year, showing the tremendous emotional stress she weathered with grace under pressure. Eclipses are transits that involve the sun, the moon, and the moon's nodes, either in conjunction or in opposition. Now, records of accurate eclipse predictions date from around 747 BCE by the Babylonians. Solar and lunar eclipses serve to emphasize a house in the natal chart and the planets within it up to a half a year. For Chelsea Clinton, the February 26, 1998 total solar eclipse at 8 Pisces activated her sun in the 4th and her Leo moon in the 9th by close, hard aspect, quite appropriate to foreshadow the difficulties her father and family would soon have. Now, by the solar eclipse of August 1998 at 29 Leo, the Clinton-Lewinsky scandal was a daily news headline. 29 Leo activated Chelsea's natal Uranus, square the midheaven IC axis and the north node-south node axis. Strong signal that the family public image would suffer. Sure enough, by December, impeachment proceedings began. The 27 Aquarius eclipse in February of 1999 again activated that same troublesome Uranus pattern in Chelsea's chart, now from the 4th house, when her father was finally acquitted by Congress.